Hi, and welcome to All the Woo A to Z. We're your hosts, Suzanne.
And Mychal, and this is season 2.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, and I have spent the week researching how to make feathered epaulets.
Okay.
Michael was not expecting that.
I was not. I'm Mychal. Hello. And I'm excited to get out into the wider world, finally. Yay.
She's loose.
I'm loose. They're letting me free.
As always, join us at this non-judgmental, open to everyone table where we are just talking about the things that we know, experience, think. We hope you're entertained, and we hope you sit down and hang out.
Yeah. So today we are talking about G, which is going to be gratitude and the practice of. See how we work that in?
Mm-hmm.
See? With that, though,
We're real grateful for this.
we're very grateful, and especially because we're very grateful for the wine pairing that's about to be enjoyed. So the pairing for this is going to be, it's a Barolo,
Oh.
which comes from Italy, if you don't know. And specifically, we're having a wine called Manzoni Castelletti and Castelletto. Sorry, my bad there.
Manzoni Castile.
I know, right? So Barolo is typically known as being the king of wines. It is an Italian wine. There's a lot of requirements.
All hail the king.
Yes. And it's made from a grape that's called Nebbiolo, which you're like, where does it? And you're like, Barolo is a designated area specifically that it needs to be grown in. It needs to be grown in particular. There's all these rules to how you make it, all of that. But Nebbiolo is the grape that's being used, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Why this is being paired. Other than that, we're grateful to be drinking the king of wines. Awesome. And it's Barolo in general that's considered to be the king of wines, to be specific there. So this particular wine has tendency to thrive in soils that other grapes have difficulty thriving in, right?
I see what you're doing.
Right? And that it requires years of care in order to get them to the point where they can be fruitful in a way that would be beneficial to make good wine, right? And that it requires constant attention. Like you constantly have to be looking after this grape in order for it to become as amazing as it's known for being, right?
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And it's wine. If you want to know, it's a really good wine. If you want to buy something that you can age for a period of time, this is one of those kinds of wines that there are those that you can go ahead and buy and drink right away. But a lot of people who end up investing in Barolos, it is exactly that. They're investing in something that they can keep for a period of time and then drink later because it only gets better. Yay. So this whole idea of constant attention, cultivation, and ability to thrive in situations that other grapes wouldn't be able to do well in. So there we go. There is.
I was about to say, that is a spectacular pairing.
Thank you.
I am grateful that you did all of the legwork on that to put it all together.
And I'm grateful that you're grateful. And I am also grateful. Oh, okay. That's my dad wine joke. There we go. My bad dad.
Other drinking game.
Yes. Hey, I'm pretty forward with the fact that I make bad wine jokes. So there we go. That is it. Can't help it. Okay, we're moving on. All right. Gratitude and the practice of. You're like, why is this woo? What does this have to do? Like, it doesn't seem like it's that impactful. Let's see. What would the average person think as we speculate about this idea?
And I think that this is one that actually most people would consider kind of woo, because if you are offering gratitude to someone something that's not in the room with you,
Mhm.
then you are, by definition,
Yeah.
making it woo.
Okay.
So
Yes.
so I think gratitude is probably the gateway to woo in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
because you start that conversation with God, the universe.
Mhm.
I heard somebody on YouTube refer to all of that as spirit, and it was like, I really like that.
Yes.
So, but you are, it's your, first word
Mhm.
in that conversation, in that relationship, I think, is gratitude.
I think it's one that's also pretty easily accessible for people
Oh,
too,
yeah.
right? So even just that idea, even if you're not a religious person, you're probably familiar that a lot of people say grace before a meal. That would be probably very first as far as it being a practice of outside of just saying thank you for
Hmm.
something is somebody's giving you something like that. Yes, it's polite and it's kind to say thank you.
But I think also things like if you are just, if we allow ourselves to feel, I think the first step in gratitude is presence.
Mhm.
Like you have to actually
Be aware.
be in that moment.
Mhm.
And so if you were standing outside and watching a sunset or puppies playing or your own child, perfecting their dive or whatever, any of those moments
Mhm.
where you taste life,
Yes.
and you are aware of that and you allow it to change you.
Mhm.
I think that appreciation, whether you do say, "Oh, thank you, God, for this moment," I think your heart brims over,
Yes.
and you know, that is the gratitude. Now, there are definitely practices that you can do and all the rest of it, but I think that just by being present
Mhm.
and being aware of the tastes in life,
Yes.
you have opened a gratitude doorway.
Well, and I think too that there's this definite link to love and to your heart because I
Mhm.
every time I say thank you, like my natural physical response is to bring my hand to my chest, right, and be
Mhm.
like thank you. Like, and I think that's also a visual cue for other people too. That even if you're not saying the words that you do that to somebody,
Mhm.
that people immediately let know there is a
You're taking it to heart.
heartfelt
Yeah.
yes. So there is that connection too that you're kind of tapping into, like what you were saying, as far as just being appreciative of what it is that you have or what you're experiencing around
Mhm.
you. As you were talking about like the puppies and things like that. This not necessarily off topic, but also not really on topic. I
Blame
was
the king of wines.
no, it's not that. It is, I've been watching it's one of those, like, ASMR kinda deals, and it is this guy who he doesn't talk at all, he literally just does, like, snow camping, and he has this little puppy husky that is just, like, the tiniest, cutest puppy thing, and I watch it for the puppy. I don't really care so much about the camping part, I just watch the puppy play around, and I'm like, "Yeah."
For a while, I got caught in, it was like three German shepherds,
Mhm,
and their people were feeding them a variety of things.
mhm.
And it was their responses to the various things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just made me feel good.
Mhm,
Was I grateful for it? Not necessarily, but it was a moment of pleasure and respite
mhm.
in sometimes what felt like less than relaxing situations.
Yes. For more recent topics that we have talked about, we were talking about we've talked about my surgery a lot. So I'm gonna touch back on this really quickly because with the puppy idea, it was something that you had told me. I had heard that when you go under anesthesia,
Mm.
that it has a tendency to enhance your kind of true personality, right?
Mm.
And from what I could recall, the last time I had gone under, there was notice about how, I left and I was saying thank you to the people. They're like, after all they've done to you, you're saying thank you. But so I was kind of curious this time, at this point in my life, what the experience would be
Mhm.
like. And you were there to kind of witness it. And you're like, you're just a little ball of sunshine. You're like, I know why you love puppies so much because you are one. Like but it really was this idea of they offer you something to drink afterwards, and I was just so excited to get a
Uh-huh.
Coca-Cola. I'm like, "I got a treat," and then I got snacks and just everything was great. I was so grateful for everybody attending to making sure that I felt okay,
Mhm.
right? And that I felt really kind of taken care of and looked after in a way.
Mhm.
And so I did really feel very grateful for, outside of yeah, being in some pain, right? The But everything else was not really all the other part of
Mhm.
gratitude really outweighed the negative part of any kind of physical uncomfortableness that I was
Mhm.
experiencing at the time. Going a bit on a tangent here, which I think is not really in the structure of what we wanted to talk about, but I think is an important thing to measure. Gratitude can rebalance,
Mm.
right? Situations that can otherwise be difficult.
And I think that's the next question. It's like, okay, yeah, you're looking at a sunset, you're playing with puppies, you
Mhm.
know, you're on pain medication, whatever, all the things that you're grateful for
Yes.
because they feel positive. But what about gratitude in a perceived negative situation
Mhm.
or from a painful spot?
Yes.
Like, what is the woo about gratitude there?
For me, or just in general?
I'm asking a question.
Putting it out there. Okay, I'll tell you for me, because
Okay.
this is something we've talked about this before, and this may be what you're prompting. I don't know.
I'm not prompting anything. I'm drinking wine and asking questions.
Okay. Well, the practice of gratitude is something that's really ingrained for me in my everyday.
Mhm.
I talk about it and deal with it and address it multiple times in my
Mhm.
day, like very actively.
Mhm.
So, typically at night when I say my prayers, there's two things that I always say. First of all, I always say, I want to say thank you to everything for everything so that I'm
Mhm.
not judging anything as being good or bad. So that it really
Mhm.
is for all the good and bad things that are happening in my life, or
Because
like
the
perceived bad,
perception, yeah.
right? Because I also know that those things that I am considering more challenging, difficult, or otherwise in a larger category, not great, I choose to see that things are happening for me
Mhm.
and instead of to me,
Mhm.
right? Which takes away my idea of being a victim.
Mhm.
And that even though I may not see the benefit of what's going on in that moment,
Mhm.
I know that there's some kind of something to be gained
Mhm.
on the back end of it.
Mhm.
So whether it is that I'm learning a lesson and I'm saying being grateful
Mhm.
for helping me through to learn something new about myself or about other people or whatever it may be,
Mhm.
or that being grateful because I'm being put in a situation where I can learn not only compassion for myself, but compassion in the future for other people.
Mhm.
I I word it that way very specifically,
Mhm.
right? To everything, for everything. And then I will also go through at the end of my prayer session and specifically name like all the activities of my day, everything that I can think of for the day that I'm
Mhm.
grateful of or for. So could be that I was hanging out with people that day, or that you guys made me dinner, or that I had a good conversation with somebody, or that things, my conversations in, work, whatever, went smoothly, or
Mhm.
even for help with challenging things.
Mhm.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for, and I'll even say the fact that I was able to be comfortable in a situation where the weather was bad, or, whatever it
Mhm.
is. Like I really try to
Enumerate.
enumerate all the things, large and small,
Mhm.
and even those things that I might deem as being, again, more challenging, and even identify those things too. I'm
Mhm.
like, thank you for giving me the opportunity
Mhm.
to learn how to deal with something like this
Mhm.
and the patience to deal with it. And,
Mhm.
all the different things. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it in order to be grateful for
Mhm.
something that can be more challenging. But I always try to keep in mind for myself that I don't always know what the end game is for the difficult thing that's being placed in front of me, and that I haven't seen it all just yet,
Mhm.
and so I can't necessarily judge it just yet. So I don't know if that answers the question.
And I would say for myself, I, no surprise to anyone, am not that structured. And am much more in the moment of
Mhm.
things. So, but I also tend to be able to pull my time and my day apart more than you can.
Mhm.
And because of how I process things, I oftentimes need to have an experience and then get past it by a day or a couple days or whatever before I can actually see it or
Mhm.
receive whatever that experience was.
Right.
And I think for me, the constant gratitude is just, and I refer to God and the universe and all of that as them
Mhm.
or y'all as when I'm talking straight. And it's just a kind of constant bloom of just, y'all are with me.
Mhm.
Like we're together. Um, so there's less demarcation
Mhm.
and formality. But I feel like I try to live in that space of
Mhm.
it is all beautiful if I will just open my eyes wide enough, if I will just not be in fear, if I will just not be trying to control the situation or quote unquote help something.
If you trust the process.
That makes me sound, I think, far more evolved than I actually am. I think it's more, I have the capacity for maybe one or two steps,
Mhm.
and I take those one or two steps and I can imagine what's around the corner or down. Well, let's put it this way, I can make a story
Mhm.
for anything, any option, any alternative, any combination of factors. I can make a story.
Yeah.
But for me, that is not where the power lies. The power lies in being in the step that I'm in and taking the next step,
Mhm.
whatever that may be. And so, gratitude practices that I have practiced all my life is obviously, well, not obviously, but being grateful for food.
Mhm.
I think, especially as somebody who had digestive issues forever and a very, very limited diet for a long time,
Mhm.
like, you
Being
know,
able to eat some gluten. Yeah.
gluten, cheese, sugar. I mean, just all of it. Like I I will take a bite of brie and be like, "Oh, thank you, God."
Yes.
Because it is still such an amazing experience to me. I will be in a store with my husband and catch a glimpse of him across the room, and he will look back at me, and I will just be like, "Oh, thank you." That this person who I wanted so much is right here.
Mhm.
So a lot of moments like that,
Mhm.
but in terms of practices, I would say just always trying to make more room for love as cornballs. No, as woo as that sounds.
Yes.
That's kind of,
Mhm.
I think, my method to gratitude is just if you're just aware of where you are.
Yeah.
Like if you just start looking at the impossibility of your existence in this time in this place to be healthy, to have all your you know
Mhm.
your legs, to be able to have the time and the technology and just all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something that I've been trying to incorporate is fairly new. It came to me just like a couple years ago on my birthday. It came in like an epiphany moment, right? That it was
The birthday of the truck.
maybe, I don't know. Sorry, there was an event that happened with a truck for one of my birthdays.
Yes.
I was not gifted a truck. That was not what happened.
No, we were de-gifted a truck.
Yes. Sorry, you guys. No, I was thinking to myself that instead of really anticipating people to tell me happy birthday or have that kind of expectation, I was like, no, instead I want to, and I should reach out to all of those people in my life, friends, family, and the like that are special to me, and to tell them how special they are to me
Oh
and to
yeah.
say thank you that
Hmm.
they are a gift for me in my life,
You're gonna
right?
start crying any minute now, aren't you?
Yes, I was starting to cry kind of thinking about it before. I'm like, okay, I need to like breathe before I start saying this. But no, like,
Yeah.
honestly, because that made me, and even in the process of just like sending a simple text, of sending it to somebody
Mhm.
and being like, I just wanted to say I've been kind of like looking over my life and I wanted to say thank you
Mhm.
for being in it
Mhm. Yeah.
as I cry.
So we are going to just mic drop there and pick a letter.
Oh, yeah, another letter.
And we are grateful for you, gentle
Yes, we
listeners,
are so grateful for you, and we're grateful for
because
that you keep on joining us. We're so appreciative. And we are doing the letter K for our next episode. This should be fun.
uh-huh. So unless somebody goes and buys a Carmagia in the next week, we will see you next time.
On all the woo.
A to Z.